Halloween
Forever.
Do you guys know what dyslexic zombies eat?
No, Brian. What do they eat?
Brian's. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I am Brian.
I'm Meg.
I am Steve.
And then we got another creeper lurking around in the fucking background, guys. You can't see him on account of this is an audio format, but we got a guest on the show. It's been a sec since we had a guest. They could feel his presence. There's a presence. Meg could feel him staring at her back while she was cooking just a little bit ago. The eyes just melting into your back. We have a guest on here. Say hello. Tell the folks who you are.
Hey, folks, this is Drew West from Drew and the Blue.
Hey, we got a motherfucking guest on here. We got Drew. I think we mentioned probably multiple times on the show. Drew has come up, or at least Drew and the Blue, which in recent months has definitely been my most listened to band on Spotify and or whatever fucking
thank you
platforms.
Who's creeping on who now?
Oh yeah, no, I'm a full on creep. Yeah, I'm like always just like posting like, can't wait to see you guys on Instagram. And
I don't feel so bad now, you know.
Yeah. We over at the brewery we have had that the new album on repeat for several months now, which we will talk about in a second. But before we get into all that mess, we got a couple of regular old order of business we got to take care of, some kind of as is tradition things here. First of all, does everyone have a beer or a beverage that they'd like to talk about?
Ooh,
I have a very
Batman
relevant one.
Oh yeah.
I have to announce and tell everyone that I had my first Oktoberfest yesterday.
Congratulations.
This is big stuff.
It's a big coming of age tale.
I got a beer package from a brewer that I met at the Mixed Culture Beer Festival, and he had posted from his brewery, it's Birds Fly South, that they were doing their Oktoberfest, and the can was just so gorgeous that I was just like, oh my god, I want one. And then
what's the name of the brewery?
Birds Fly South.
Oh, I don't know these guys.
Huh.
And
where are they at?
South Carolina.
Oh, gotcha.
And so he sent me that. I drank that yesterday because I couldn't wait. But today, one of the cans was kind of getting a little excited and almost looked like it was going to explode.
It's getting a little distended.
It couldn't stand up straight, which is why the can's not in front of me.
That is a sign of quality. That's what I always say. If your can looks like it's about to do you harm,
it was also a saison, so
quality.
let's like calm down here.
Unacceptable.
No.
Unacceptable. No.
It was shipped here. I'm giving it a pass, okay? Because I'm also drinking this beer. It's called Saison is Dead, first and foremost.
That's a good name.
The can logo is amazing. It basically is like this Saison bottle with a knife. Mm-hmm. Very on brand.
So it actually is. At least they market it as a dangerous beer.
Yeah, and I did open it with a butter knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a dry hop Saison. It's delicious, but I'm drinking it out of a Schlitz glass now.
I like that.
So
yeah, that's dead. That's dead serious right there. You know what? I'll go next just because left or right. That's how we're looking on my screen. I'm drinking a beer that I felt is pretty relevant to the situation. One that Drew may or may not be familiar with. a little Reading Premium action here. For those of you who are not familiar with Drew and his band, he is currently residing and recording from beautiful Reading, Pennsylvania.
That is true. Also, if you are familiar and you heard our EP, I think somebody stole somebody's colors. I think we stole your guys' colors because the can matches the EP, the Surfing on a Surfboard one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys posted it a while ago, and I hadn't realized it. And then at the same time, I was like, well, what more fitting of a beer, you know?
Fair game. Take it. Run with it. We rent it from somebody else. We don't even own it. When I say we, I mean Sly Fox. We actually like license it from whoever the hell owns the like they came to us and said, hey, brew this beer and resurrect it. It was like an old Pennsylvania brewery.
Wilkes-Barre folks, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And they're from like, this beer started like way back, like late 19th century. And then I think at one point they were like one of the top 10 or 20 largest breweries in the country, which I did not realize. I think that was back like mid-century, kind of mid 20th century. And then I think it went out of business. They closed their doors or sold or something like back in maybe the late 70s. I don't know. In recent years, we've kind of tried to resurrect it and pulled, some of the like mid-century, label design and stuff out of it. But it's just like your pretty standard, American style lager. If you like a goddamn High Life, or if you like a some bitch and hams, you're probably going to dig a Reading Premium. So that's, yeah, there we go. I was going to say, there's no way a High Life isn't within arm's length of Meg right this second. So that's what I'm going for.
Who's next on your left to right? My left to right's different.
You are actually, which is completely irrelevant, right now, but absolutely, yeah.
So, all right. I was at the market on Sunday and right on the street in West Reading on Penn Ave, and Locust Lane Brewing was there.
Okay.
So I'm drinking a 3-ton Citra IPA. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's really bright. I mean, I'm trying to fit them in. Summer is it's almost over. And when you wake up early in the morning, which I have to, you walk outside, it smells like fall. So yeah, I'm quite aware that, like, for me at least, stout season is coming in. So I'm trying to enjoy the last of these anyway.
The last little drips of summer. See, I'm like the opposite, where as like my birthday's the 13th of August, and that's when fall starts for me. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm wearing pants and sweatshirts. I don't care if it's 90 degrees. I'm fucking slugging Oktoberfest.
I mean, you're sweating either
beers.
way, Brian's.
Well, that's the thing.
I can see it dripping off your face.
I'm a sweaty bitch. So I'm sweating profusely no matter what. So I might as well, be able to pretend that I'm in the time of year that I want. Yeah, we'll see. What you got? What you got?
I got a little hop farm action.
Oh, yeah?
It is their Musa, which is the Grodziski.
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Grodziski.
Grodziski?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I know it's fucking Polish,
like, you said
and that's
it the
hard.
most Yinzer way possible, too, and I really appreciated that.
Grodziski. Grodziski. Yeah. But yeah, it's a...
If you just go make a lot of noises, that's all you got to do for Polish.
All consonants. That's all it is.
That's the thing about Polish is...
It's spelled GRDZDRK.
We already talked about dyslexia on this episode, so Brian, you get a pass.
Z's are J's and J's are C's, and it's all fucked up. But it's a 4.3 smoked oat. It's a great beer from them. I actually had it when we did our live show. Mm-hmm. They had it on tap there.
Soda there.
Yeah,
I missed that. Why did
I don't know, because you didn't go there.
They had a smoke beer on.
I don't know. But yeah, I had it on tap there, and then I went to...
Oh, when you were there with Hop Nation, you mean?
No, when I was there with us.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't I notice that?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of you.
Steve, tell me when something that's relevant to me is happening.
I thought you would have known.
I didn't.
You're better friends with Malcolm. I figure you guys just talk about tap lists all the time.
He stopped telling me about his beers because I just tell him he's a piece of shit every time he talks to me.
Fair enough. But then I saw a 4-pack at the Eagle for $15, and I got that. So, why wouldn't you? Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's a good one. All right. Well, beers are present and accounted for. We do have a little thing we got to do here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls out there. We do a thing. If you're new to the show, and if you haven't listened to recent episodes, first of all, fuck you. Like, you're trash, and I'm mad at you, and I physically want to do harm to you. But you have started now, so we'll move past it. But here's how it works, right? Once a month, we do a little thing called a showdown episode. This here's a mini-sode that you're listening to right now. But we do a showdown episode once a month. We have this big old dang spinny wheel of topics, all types of horror movie genres and all types of weird stuff. And every month, Steve spins that sumbitchin' wheel. We get 3 of them. We throw them out there on the social medias, and then everyone votes on which one they want for the following month's showdown episode. This particular, most recent 3 to choose from, we ended up with Satanic Panic was the topic, which is to say some goddamn Satan-ass movies. And again, not just demons. We're talking about the dude, his infernal majesty, you guys. We want literal Satan movies, satanic movies where Satan is part of the plot, not just some random ass old demons. So that's what we landed on. That's what the listeners picked for next month. So it is about time for us to pick our movies. Now, we're all going to pick a dang movie that's associated with that topic. And then next month, the first Monday of the month, we're going to each talk about those movies and we'll argue. Somebody's going to get jackknife powerbombed, couple, diamond cutters on the pavement. No holds barred situation plays out. We vote, and then somebody takes home that motherfucking shoulder candy, guys. That strap you get to walk around all month with as the champ. Now, Meg is currently the champ. I don't love how it played out.
Thank you for acknowledging me, Brian.
Drew, I'm going to lay this out for you just so you're up to speed. Okay. Real bit of controversy happening here, okay? First time ever we had a stalemate where we each got one vote amongst us. We've been doing the podcast over a year now. Somehow that was the first time it happened. So we put it out to the listeners. That's what the bylaws dictate. It was out of our hands. We put it out there to the listeners. Meg thought it was a cool idea to just canvass the fucking neighborhood.
I have been creeping on your last few episodes, and I'm aware. Yeah. I'm aware of this. All right. She had been stoking her own, her own votes, and
she'd been out there kissing hands, shaking babies.
Asking people to vote is not illegal. I just asked for people to vote.
Yeah, it's not illegal, but it's like pissing in public.
It's
you're
immoral.
Not necessarily going to go to jail, but it's shameful.
It's frowned upon.
Pissing in public is also illegal, Brian.
I've got a ticket for that. Steve.
It was a bad example, Steve.
I'm just saying it's immoral.
It's
in the country. He pisses everywhere outside.
I was going to say, I piss outside more than I piss inside. No one's ever seen me ever because I just
that's
standing by the woods.
That's very Beaver County of you. For sure.
Beaver County.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. My dad has not pissed indoors in probably 20 years.
What is it with them?
I don't know.
They love doing it. My dad loved doing it too.
He could be upstairs. He'll pass the bathroom, go down the stairs, out the back porch, and piss off the back porch.
And he's not Amish or Mennonite, right?
Not as far as I'm
it's
aware.
not like he's going into like an outhouse and pissing.
Not even.
No, it's like finding a tree.
You go to the tree line.
Literally,
He doesn't even do it with the tree line. He just literally pisses off the back porch.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
There ain't no one back there.
It's good to have land.
Yeah, it's good to have land. So yes, that's how it goes. That's what happened last month. Again, a bit of controversies happening within the crew here.
I don't see it as a controversy.
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't. You rat bastard. All right. So
we know what that means. I get to choose the order here.
You do get to choose the order in which we and we
didn't talk about them in advance either. So
we have not. We haven't talked about them in a little bit. So I actually have 3 in my mind, just because in the off chance that we cross streams, I guess. I don't know. I've pissing on the mic.
Is that a pee joke? Yeah, it's a pee joke.
All right. Yeah, it's a pee joke.
Got it.
I have 2 because if one of you rat fucks me, then it's going to be trouble.
Whoa.
All right, Meg, it's up to you. You got to tell us in what order we're going to vote. We're going to select.
Brian, because I hate you, you're going last.
Because you're a piece of dog shit. You're going last. All right,
I'm going
fair
first.
enough.
Steve's going in the middle.
Okay, fine. All right. Fuck. Steve's 2, at least 1, if not 2 of mine are going to get picked. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm going for it. I'm just taking Rosemary's Baby off the table.
Son of a bitch.
Right on.
So that's one. I mean, that was one of my top 3.
Here goes the other one, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah. Fuck you. That was my number 1. So I knew, Steve, if you went ahead of me, he was going to pick Prince of Darkness.
And I knew the same thing of you. And if you went ahead of me, I would have been like, Brian, you rat fuck. And then we would have watched Toxic Avenger 3. I would have thrown a tantrum.
God damn you. I love Prince of Darkness so much. Rosemary's Baby was actually my number 3. Prince of Darkness was going to be number 1. But I'm going to go with my number 2, which is, I guess it could be worse. And we're picking 3 bangers here.
Mm-hmm.
Big time movies, I would say pillar movies of their various, horror generations. I'm going with The Omen.
Okay.
So that's just a goddamn creepy movie. I had a couple other like dark horse movies that I could have slid in there, but when you guys are picking Rosemary's Baby and Prince of Darkness, these are like juggernaut films. I gotta match the energy there.
Drew, do you have a favorite of those?
I'm gonna go ahead. Rosemary's Baby is probably.
See, I didn't even have to canvass him.
Yeah,
no, well, that's the
she
one.
just sent him a DM. Was like, I'm gonna Venmo you $5 just to say whatever the fuck. Yeah,
I would have done it for less. So really, she lost on that. But
you got clowned.
No, that's the one I'm most familiar with. I saw The Omen when I was like really young, but it didn't stick with me. I know. I don't know. That's the one where he gets stabbed with the cross, drops down, right?
Oh, and the hanging out the window,
Okay,
it's all for you, Damien, and
Yes. So So Rosemary's Baby is the one I'm most familiar with, and that's why I'm there.
Wait, Brian. Yeah. Brian, are you doing the original or are you doing the 2006 remake that came out on 6/6/06?
What do you fucking think I'm doing, Steve?
It's the newer one.
This is weird. We're actually going because we tend to skew towards. I tend to skew towards 80s movies. Meg tends to skew towards like more modern movies. Steve's all over the damn place. We're going a movie from the 60s, a movie from the 70s, and a movie from the 80s. So Prince of Darkness in 1987 is the most
that's the newest
recent film of the three, which is kind of strange.
There's not a lot of good Satan films. My one dark horse pick that I was thinking of was The Church.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's a pretty decent one. I don't know.
It's a little slow.
It's a little slow, but the payoff of Satan making cum face is pretty dope. So
I haven't seen it, but now I need to.
It is.
It's on Tubi.
It drags a little bit at times. I was thinking about, but also a bunch of ones that I was like, I watched and had an impact on me. I was like, fuck, is it Satan or does it turn out to be like some like fucking second tier like bitch ass demon? I couldn't remember for a lot of these ones, but in any case, I think we got 3 bangers here, very appropriate for September because September is full on spooky season. I don't give a shit what you say. So we are getting into some damn devil ass movies, and we'll probably have a seance. We'll probably conjure things. We'll probably do some sex magic. It's gonna be awesome.
Interject, this might help. So I'm on my Wi-Fi in my home. The title of my Wi-Fi is Hail Satan. So,
it should be.
Hail yeah.
And so we're on that Wi-Fi. We're sharing that collectively. So
I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean,
through my loins.
My neighbors moved in next door whenever they did, like a year ago, and forever they would go on their Wi-Fi and they'd see this one that said "Hail Satan." They're like, "Who is Hail Satan?" and one day he was like, "Hey, what's your Wi-Fi name?" I'm like, "It's Hail Satan." He's like, "I knew it." So my neighbor, he calls me Satan. I mean, only Satan. He doesn't call me by my name. I think he knows my name, but he just calls me Satan.
It's the wrong episode for you to be on. I'm imagining also that every time you walk outside and your neighbor walks outside, he just throws you the horns because he does. He knows what's up.
Oh, he does.
Oh, he's cool. He's down. Okay. See, all my like redneck ass neighbors, like I make them call me His Infernal Majesty, but they're not happy about it. Like they are reluctant, and I have to, like I said, I have to throw like, I was going to say something really super vulgar. We'll keep it to farther into the episode when we week when we get into full on sex magic rituals. All right. So, I actually recently was hosting a beer dinner that they paid me to be at. And when I walked in, I sat at the front. Or, the podium is at the front and there was like a room full of tables and no one wants to sit up front. It's like when you're in class or something, no one wants to sit in the front. Everyone goes towards the back. And
that's
it's
what
normal.
You think, Brian, you just smell real bad.
Listen, we were there like were sulfur. Actually Brussels sprout. Brussels sprouts present. But anyway, so this couple came in and they were one of the last ones in there and they sat right up front. And the woman goes, she was like a Southern woman. And she goes, it's just like being in church. Everyone wants to sit in the back. They don't want to come up front. They want to sit in that first pew. And I was like, oh, yeah. And she goes, but we all love God. We all love God. And she kept saying it as like a response. And I said, I'm more of a Satan guy. Which her husband was like, and then she was like,
She like hit him underneath the table.
They definitely didn't know how to take it, which I appreciated very much.
See, at that point, Brian, what you really need to do is like start slow converting and, saying like, oh, how do you like, I'm a part of the Church of the Morning Star. Yeah. So like it sounds kind of, right religious, but not. But then, Church of the Morning Star, then,
I go straight into Satanic Temple talk right off the bat.
Like there's no chill here.
There's zero chill. We are in a fucking Marriott conference room at 3 p.m. and I'm going to talk to you about period blood and buckets of cum and Aleister Crowley and all types of shit.
So you're talking about the sheets at the Marriott. Got him. Take that, Marriott.
Got that. Oh, burns you, dude.
They have comfortable pillows. I mean, the pillows are nice.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're derailing here. All right. So we are not talking about that stuff today. We're talking about a completely different flick. Talking, about Drew coming on the show. We said, what do you want to talk about? Like, listen, and I want to tell us what movie we're talking about, and then get into Drew, how kind of you got into horror, and specifically maybe your connection with this movie. But, the couple movies you threw out right off the bat, because you said, what are we going to talk about? I said, well, you're one of them damn rock and roll boys. Why don't we talk about like some sort of like music themed thing, because there's so many good, rock and roll horror movies, whether it's heavy metal or we were just talking about what's the sumbitch's name, Steve? We were just talking about last time, the big jacked guy, the Thor,
John Micklethor.
John Micklethor. We regularly talk about John Micklethor on the podcast. So a couple that Drew threw out were Rocky Horror Picture Show and Return of the Living Dead. And we said, God damn, we have never done Return of the Living Dead, oddly enough, because we all love this movie. So it felt like a very apropos topic. So, yeah, I guess tell us about, first of all, for those of you who don't know, what type of music you guys do, or you have a few different projects that are relevant. Explain to listeners why that is extraordinarily relevant. And then, what this movie means to you, how you came about, maybe the first time you watched it or how it influenced you or whatever.
Yeah. All right. That's a good intro. So right off the bat, how did I find the movie? So everyone is most of the listeners, of this podcast for sure, but most people you talk to understand Night of the Living Dead. So, right. You start there and oh yeah. And then even a step further. Oh, I know George Romero. Like I've heard of his work. It's like, of course. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I saw Night of the Living Dead, and some time had gone by, and I was aware of like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. Like I knew there were more. Okay, so I've seen those, but one of my favorite bands, which is really no secret, maybe I don't know if of all time, probably is the Cramps. Mm-hmm. So if anybody out there isn't aware, the Cramps have a tune called "The Surfin' Dead," and it's not, as far as I've seen. I mean, I'm sure it's on a single, like on a 45 somewhere, but it's not on any of their albums or live albums or anything. And I'm like, where does this song exist other than the internet? Yeah. And so I look it up and it's like, oh, it's on Return of the Living Dead. I'm like, what is Return of the Living Dead? And to me, I can't tell you. I don't know when this was. This was like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. I'm not quite sure anymore. And I thought, well, all right, because I loved the song. And then I looked it up and I'm like, it's weird. It sounds like one of those George Romero films, but it's not. Yeah. Right. And then if you guys, I don't know if I'll just jump into it because yes, but you find out like, okay, George Romero and somebody help me with the name.
I think it's Joe or John Russo.
John Russo, Russ Striner.
Russo. Yeah, John Russo. Or Jack Russo, however he goes. But so he's the co-writer. Mm. And after they filmed that one, I mean, I wikied all this at the time and they kind of went separate directions with it. Mm-hmm. So not to get too in the weeds, but the point is it's like George Romero kept his franchise, did his thing. Like 10 years goes by and John Russo writes a book called Return of the Living Dead, which 4 years later would be adapted into the film that now we all know and love. So that is how it was through the Cramps that I found Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, that's interesting because for me, it was the opposite way around where I got turned up because the Cramps are one of my favorite bands of all time, too. But I got turned on from the movie, like hearing the song in the movie. So it was kind of in reverse there. And then I had definitely seen like YouTube videos, whatever, of like Lux Interior, doing wild shit on stage and stuff. But I never really made the connection. It was the same guy.
Yeah.
So, probably I was in college or something like that. But yeah, this song, oddly enough, because it's not on one of their like albums, but if you put probably maybe besides Human Fly, this is the one that comes up most frequently in the like streaming services and shit, which is weird.
Yeah, and it's
I don't know why.
Oddly, I mean, pertaining to your guys' podcast is like the Cramps has horror baked in, but that's you got Human Fly, okay, right there, right? It's a horror movie. Surfing Dead, right in there on Living Dead. So it's like one of their most horror songs too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like you said, I've seen you perform, I think, at least a few times now, and we'll again next month at Can Jam. For those of you who are in the greater Pennsylvania area, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, whatever, if you're in walking distance, first of all, if you like to play Can Jam, if you're like if you're Meg, right, and you're like you live for Frisbee, you live for the disc.
I do have a Can Jam story from this week, so
come on out. We have the largest Can Jam tournament in the goddamn world, in beautiful Pottstown, Pennsylvania. But then we also have a great kind of music festival that goes along with it. Drew and the Blue will be playing at that on September 24th, which I'm super excited about. I just saw you guys not that long ago at Reading.
The Distilling
Reading
Guild.
Distilling Company or Distilling Guild. That's right.
Yeah.
And if you've seen Drew perform, the Cramps influence. I think I saw you lick the microphone on many occasions. There's blood. I've seen blood flying from your body into the crowd before. Things like that.
Yeah, and that's and I'm not doing that intentionally. Like the licking that's intentional, but the bleeding is not. The bleeding is not.
It's not. It's
I'm not up there cutting myself. I'm not recreating what many have done before me.
No, you're not Gigi Allening it or McFlaring it.
Definitely not shitting on the floor for sure.
No, I couldn't. That's not me. I am.
You're shy. You're too shy for that.
Yeah, I'm a kept guy. I try to look all right.
I'm a shy boy. I can't be sticking bananas up my ass.
No, I'd rather not. Not for the sake of the show, anyhow.
Drew. I think that when I saw that happen was when. So again, for those of you who aren't familiar, Drew sings in the band, but also plays drums, which is a unique combination, but also does so standing up. So you're kind of just ripping up there, and I think you just kind of like smacked your hand off the rim of the drum or something, and blood was flying.
That's exactly what it is. It's just a very if you have seen us or you look us up, like if you YouTube us, that's like the easiest way to quickly understand what it looks like, and it's just kind of unconventional. I'm not the first person to stand in drums, so let's say that. But the way I come down on the drum, sometimes I miss. Or I hit, but I also hit my hand at the same time.
Yeah.
And so then the drum heads just have blood stains because I'm not going to. I don't need to change them. They're still good for a while. So typically speaking, they're there for a month or two, and they just have blood all over them. But
he just has very strategic owls built into the songs. This is all I'm imagining. Ow!
Yeah, people think Yeah.
So I had kind of a fun afternoon because I was listening to you guys, but also like Brian's obviously talked about you guys before, and it reminded me of Ed Schrader's Music Beat. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
No, I'm not sure what that
they're
is.
out of Baltimore, but they're also like very similar, and like Ed Schrader is a stand-up drummer. So like but
dude, that's cool.
If you've ever seen the short Adult Swim film called Unedited Footage of a Bear.
No,
I have seen that.
Okay, so
I've not thought about it in a long time.
I'm going to make a note right now.
The song in that is by Ed Schrader's Music Beat, but check it out. Yeah, that's a good reference for some people. Brian got it, but
what was the name of that one more time? The unedited what?
Unedited Footage of a Bear.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
I've been going back down that rabbit hole coincidentally recently. Like last night on the drive home from we were over at some friend's house, and all our kids are running around being fucking maniacs. And then on the way home, to keep them awake on the drive home so they didn't fall asleep and I have to carry them into the house, I just introduced them to Brack.
Oh, God.
And Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And just played every Brack song I could on my phone on the way home, and they were fucking losing it.
I forgot about that.
Oh man!
My buddy put he like, you know, you trade CDs with your buddies when you're growing up. I swear there was a Brack song on. I can't remember which one it was now. It was mildly irritating, you know. Obviously.
Yeah, they all are. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, again, especially for 6 and a soon to be 8-year-old, they thought it was fucking, you know, a masterpiece. Which
but just before we jump into the well, we're in the movie, but no, I wanted to say about your guys' Can Jam while we're on. It's like the quickest plug. Yeah. But last year, so your guys' company, Sly Fox was cool to have us. Which, by the way, not just cool to have us, but cool to have us 2 years in the making, because this was back in 2020.
Yeah, last time we did it because all the Corvids. Yeah,
and you guys were like, I mean, a handful of people kept their there's no contract, but kept their like shows together. And we're like, hey, I know it's been 2 years, but you guys still want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I still want to do this. And your company was one of them, which is awesome. So my point was, after that, you had Start Making Sense, the Talking Heads tribute.
Yeah.
Those folks were nice to come watch our show at the very end. And because of that show, we actually were able to travel with them, and we went up to Buffalo.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
They've been hooking us up left and right, just with cool shows, with like meeting new venues, and like, I mean, all because of that Sly Fox Can Jam. And now, you know, you're nice to have us back, and we're on so that's the nice thing about this is there's just like 3 of us. It's just like me and Pete and Corey are like making decisions. So we're just selfishly trying to book bands that we like. We're like, do you think other people are like these? We're like, I don't know. I hope so. But you guys were on we were like, we got to get you guys up on the big stage as well, because you guys just, it's you guys just fucking shred. So. I didn't even realize,
I forget the name of your. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. But I forget the whole band's awesome. But
Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy's awesome, and
Taylor.
Taylor, that was the other name I couldn't remember. He's just, and they're both fantastic. But holy shit, can that guy play the guitar?
He shreds.
Holy shit, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
All right, I'm going to stop gushing and just embarrassing myself by talking about your band.
You just got to put your boner away.
I know. Well, I'm sitting down. All right, so it should be really fun. Yeah, come out and check us out on the 24th if you want to come out and see that damn band and a whole bunch of other bands that aren't as important. All right, so
we love everybody coming. We love all the people there.
All right, so. Let's get into this son of a bitchin' movie. Once again, Return of the Living Dead, 1985, the year of our Lord, the year your boy was born. Born of Tubi, actually. Coincidentally, my father is Tubi, or at least I like to pretend that's the case.
This is literally evolved.
It is our sacred text. It is my like equivalent of the New Testament, which is the streaming service Tubi. We typically equate it is the streaming equivalent of like that super grimy, sticky, disgusting, smoke-filled like VHS rental store under a bridge. Like that's Tubi is the streaming equivalent of that. Like if Netflix is Blockbuster and Shudder is Family Video or something, Tubi is a fucking grimy place that's just called rental.
Yeah.
And there's tons of porn, like an alarming amount of porn that you can definitely see from the front door.
They haven't figured out how to do virtual tanning beds yet, but they'll get there.
Yeah. I assume most of Tubi's revenue comes from CBD now, which is what all good rental stores still do. So it is free on Tubi. So again, if you haven't downloaded Tubi, your life's trash. You should probably go do that. And this movie is fucking free on there. Like Drew kind of alluded to, this is something that was very much born of the Living Dead franchise, the George A. Romero Living Dead franchise. But kind of, what happened was there was that agreement, like you mentioned, between George Romero and kind of Russ Streiner / John Russo, like kind of the production side of the business, where they said, we can't agree on what we want to do next. So you guys can go off and make your own movies with Living Dead in the title. But then we are going to make the direct sequels, the Dawn of the Dead, the Day of the Dead type of thing. So George Romero was on board with that kind of flight path, and then Russ Streiner and John Russo kind of took it in the other direction. Coincidentally, we just talked about Lifeforce, aka Big Booby Space Vampires, last week. That movie fucking rules, which we established. Directed by one Mr. Toby Hooper. They had Toby Hooper on board for this film to direct this film, and then there was a lot of discrepancy with I guess the original story, the original script that Russ Streiner and John Russo wrote. I was a little bit too close maybe to the original Night of the Living Dead. Toby Hooper really wasn't on board with it. Toby Hooper ended up leaving to do Lifeforce instead of this movie. And then they brought on the great Dan O'Bannon to direct it. And this was his first ever. This is his directorial debut. And he had only. I mean, it was really his only movie he directed. I mean, I think there's a couple shorts and some other bullshit that I don't know anything about, but he's really well known as a writer.
Right.
He wrote Dark Star, which is John Carpenter's first feature length film. He of course wrote Alien. He's passed away. I want to say 10 years ago, probably.
Yeah, he passed away in 2009.
Yeah, so he's super dead, but he's still collecting.
Which is one of the sequels, right?
Yeah, it should be if it's not. He is still collecting writer's credits for all the characters for Alien that he created. Yeah. But in any case, he did Dead and Buried. He wrote Lifeforce, which Toby Hooper left this movie to go direct. He wrote Invaders from Mars. He wrote Total Recall. I mean, just like, some huge genre films he was a writer of. This one's kind of unique in that, I mean, Dark Star is definitely like a black comedy kind of thing, I would say, or has some
it's not a straight horror is what it. Yeah.
No, it's not a straight horror. It's like a sci-fi horror comedy. Like there's some levity in there. Invaders from Mars has a little bit of that, but this is like a straight up black horror. This is like a black comedy. I mean, like black horror comedy, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of a weird trajectory kind of thing to get to this movie, but
well, I mean, isn't Dead and Buried also? That's a bit of a.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Dead and Buried, which I just mentioned 2 seconds ago.
A little bit of a comedy.
There's some jokiness in there.
So yeah, I think Dan O'Bannon is just a really good underrated writer, and he didn't get. I don't know. He just didn't seem to get the career that he should have.
You think Alien and you think Total Recall. I mean, obviously those are huge, iconic films, and they're just dead serious. But like, yeah, surprised to see that he didn't branch off into like maybe more comedy or something like that. But but yeah, so we talked about the soundtrack a little bit, which we'll get to in a sec. But this is a really unique cast. It's like it's got people who are like old character actors and even like commercial actors from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, like Clu Gulager, which is just, first of all, his name's Clue, C-L-U. What the fuck? Like that's a great name. That's a great actor name. You've got James Karen, who again, character guys through and through. James Karen, if you are anything like me and you like to just watch like compilations of old like 70s and 80s commercials, James Karen is on every single one of them. I think he sold fucking A1 steak sauce and fucking Crest toothpaste, like everything. And then Don Calfa, was pretty young at this, not young, but younger than them at this point, and then went on to be like a really recognizable character actor.
Man, I tell you, before I looked who some of the actors were, however long ago, and I had to interject to say this. For a while, in my head, I'm like, "Oh, that's Sam Raimi's brother." That's Ted Raimi. It's not Ted Raimi. They don't look that alike. But in my mind, I don't know what drew me to something. I was like,
now that you say that, like, yeah, he kind of look like Ted Raimi a little bit. But
I think he looks like Ted Raimi now.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. In 1985, Ted Raimi not, but yes, he looks like Ted Raimi now. That's a great way of putting it. But he has some of the same features.
So his eyes, they kind of bug out a little. I don't. And in my mind, I'm like, oh well, Raimi, he's in the horror franchise, then it must be the guy. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad I did not assume here live.
I guarantee you, there are people who have, like, you're not the first one to make that association. Guaranteed. Like now that I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, he does. Like it. But you have these old, old guard kind of actors, like old classically trained actors, and then you have this like what are at the time would have been really basically unknown for the most part people that have now become, horror royalty, like Tom Matthews and Linnea Quigley. I would even go as far as to say maybe this or Demon Knight are probably the movies that I most associate Linnea Quigley with.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely this one for me. This changed probably most teenage hetero boys' lives around, and as well as any bi or pan women out there.
Yeah.
So
I, honest to God, remember being heartbroken when I learned that was a merkin. Like that was not, because she goes full frontal.
Yeah.
Okay. In this movie, Linnea Quigley does, which she's well known that like that's her thing. She loves it. Like she embraces that role very much in her career. But this is the first time I remember seeing it, and I was like, she's butt ass naked dancing on top of a freaking in a cemetery. Yeah. And then I learned, which we do whenever possible, do discuss, we appreciate a good bit of merkin work. Mm-hmm. I think we even have a shirt that says merkin work on it somewhere.
Yes. we have a punk styled shirt called Merkin Work, as if it's a punk band.
I thought that was a good band name. In any case, but she just goes off in that scene, which we'll get into it a little bit more deeply here in a moment.
You have to bring me up to speed. This merkin work. This is the first one.
So a merkin is essentially it's the pubic equivalent of a toupee.
Okay. Oh, I understand.
Pause for me there. I like it.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. So there was something going on down on that region. There was
Yeah, that wasn't her real parts. I mean, right. I'm pretty sure that may or may not have been her butt from behind. And obviously, she was naked from the waist up.
Sure.
But that she had some sort of covering type of situation that did not expose her pubic region in the movie, which it's fooled the hell out of me as a kid. I'll say that. Like I was hook, line, and sinker.
I just want to meet the person who came up with that idea. It's like, no, we want you to be naked, but I don't want to be naked. I don't want you to see anything. Here's an idea. Have you seen a toupee before? And now we have.
Do you think the first one they used the wrong textured hair? Like they used like straight long hair.
And it was just
it looked like a loincloth.
Cousin It kind of thing.
Yeah.
The first one was
hanging down the front.
The first one was built out of a broom, so it was just straight stick out bristles.
They put it on and then cut it out to match and fit perfectly. I'm just watching this go on in my mind right now. It's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if that helps the rating. Is that what what is the maybe what you said, Meg? Is it I don't want to be naked. Well, okay, here's a sleeve or something over top, or a sheath. But then is it it's it's not rated X, it's rated R. It's because the thing, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, especially back in 1985, what's gonna get you that M rating? You know what I mean, or that NC-17 rating?
Yeah.
I mean. They definitely wanted to avoid that. You might be onto something because this actually released the same summer as Day of the Dead. In fact, a month after that, which was kind of weird. And it was interesting because this movie only had it's significant, but by 1985 standards, there's a lot of movies, Gremlins 2, this was a $4 million budget. Gremlins 2 is a $40 million budget. So you kind of get it's not a huge budget film, but they had some significant, dollars behind it, but they shot it in 6 weeks. And it released a month after Day of the Dead. So it was up against its kind of, spiritual predecessor in a lot of ways. But this actually, I think I looked up, this one did about 14 million in domestic gross. And I think Day of the Dead only did 5. It dramatically, it was a critically panned early on,
sure,
as movies like this often are, but it exponentially outsold Day of the Dead in the box office.
Interesting.
Which was surprising. Yeah, for me to. I mean, it was an Orion flick. It was a decent, it was a decent sized house. They obviously probably had some promotional dollars and stuff behind it, but
you got to wonder if that was just due to the amount of theaters they were able to get in. because like if they, like you said, they're with Orion, so they had decent distribution. But like, what was Day of the Dead's distribution back then? I don't know.
Might have been a lot less.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I don't know.
They didn't get that wampum crowd out like they wanted to for Day of the Dead, I guess.
The old wampum mine crowd.
That old wampum mine crowd coming up out of the mine straight in the theaters. The other person I didn't mention, who was like, I think a relative newcomer at the time, but she played the kind of straight-laced teen, which they never explain why you get this group, which we'll talk about all of them in a second, that includes, Tom Matthews, Linnea Quigley, which are all these like super aggressive punk kids. And then you have Beverly Randolph as Tina, who's this kind of skipper like, persona. And she's part of the gang kind of thing. And I don't know. They never really, I would love to have heard the backstory of how those, she became kind of part of that group, but we'll get into it a little bit. But
it's like Grease 3.
Yeah.
Is what I, in a way.
I did not make that comparison. This is alarmingly similar narrative to Grease.
Sandy. Yeah.
Yeah. She's Sandy. R.I.P.
Yeah. Cause I think,
yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. R.I.P. Good call.
Yeah.
Well, same to Clu Gulager, because he did just pass as well. I think within the same week, I believe, maybe. But
wow, I really thought he had been. I just assumed he was again super dead, just because he was up there, even when this came out, freaking 37 years ago.
Yeah. I think kind of the dynamic is because Freddie she's dating Freddie, because you have this weird. Yeah. Like you're saying, you have this weird 80s mishmash. So like Trash and Scuzz and Suicide, they're obviously all the fucking bad kids. Yeah. And Spider, of course, who he died unceremoniously in the Friday the 13th, Part 5, New Beginning.
Who was he in Part 5?
I believe he was the older brother of the young kid who they go visit in the trailer park, and he gets the enchilada diarrhea.
Okay, you got me. Yeah. No, wow. I did not make. I would never have made that connection. I haven't watched that one in a hot sec, but So all of those guys, I bet Freddie is friends with them, and then Tina brings along those two other, like they're dressed in like hoop skirts or whatever, and like zoot suits, like. It's like Drew said, it's a real Grease clash of the styles. Yeah. No, it's I guess that's right. It's just, I guess for whatever reason, I mean, potentially they had been dating for a while. I don't know why I feel the need to like really draw out a long backstory associated with these characters, but
because it doesn't make sense. It's crazy visually.
Yeah, it's wild. We'll get into it a little bit, but speaking of Beverly Randolph as Tina, a lot of horror stories out there of how much of just a giant piece of shit Dan O'Bannon was to the entire cast, including her, for the entire production. I guess he just like tortured her in a, almost like a, The Shining, Kubrick-esque type of way, where he just like made her do the scene where she like face plants into the water, like into that big puddle. Yeah. I guess he made her do that like dozens of times, and it was just like this. A lot of people really disliked his directing style. He was a little bristly, I guess.
Perhaps that's why he only directed 2 films then. So
yeah, his directing career was short-lived, but so real quick before we get into the plot, besides Surfin' Dead by the Cramps, probably the most well-known song, I think it's called Deadbeat Dance by the Damned. Another great one on this soundtrack. Party Time by I think the band's called Grave. I don't think I've ever heard another song by Grave.
I think it's Grave 45, and it's
Grave 45. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know. They're a blind spot for me. I have no idea who the hell they are, but the song fucking rips. Yeah. And like when the freaking skeleton sits up out of the grave or comes up out of the grave and they're playing it. I mean, that was I remember watching that as a kid going, holy, what the fuck is happening right now?
That intro is like equivalent to the glass breaking and Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out. It's how awesome and iconic it is. I love it.
Yeah. Oh man. I like to pretend that skeleton is the Texas rattlesnake. Like they just in a different, area of the cosmos.
You want a party?
He's a fucking skeleton. I drank a beer. I drank another beer.
I ate some brains. What? I bite your skull. What?
That's a t-shirt. Great. We're going to have to get on that one. And then another song, which I think it's called Nothing for You by TSOL. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a banger too. There's a lot of great songs on this one.
I feel like this being such like a very music heavy movie, I learned because actually I was talking to my buddy yesterday about this movie, and he told me about Send More Paramedics. It's like this like English thrash band that clearly is like very derivative from this movie and stuff like that. And they rip. I was like listening to them earlier today, and they're really fun too. Just seeing how like other bands can be influenced by music is pretty sick.
I'm sure there is so many, like every line in this movie probably has a band.
Yeah.
Like a corresponding band associated with it.
I thought Split Dogs would actually be a really great band name.
You'd think.
Split Dogs. Bisected Puppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I was thinking about was when Party Time comes on, because generally speaking, like that genre, like I can get into it and stuff, but it's not the first thing I turn on. Like
the kind of cock rockish type of
metal. It's leaving that like glam rock, or I hate to I'm trying to like put it in a genre. It's leaving that and it's getting into this, I don't know, it's leaving like that hair metal 80s thing. But I'm just trying to picture, man, if you were in the movie theater and you see that skeleton and then Party Time comes on, like you're leaving that movie theater so pumped. Like, it was like, that's like a perfect ending. I mean, the whole soundtrack, like all of it is fun. And I only knew a handful, like TSOL, obviously, very popular, but the rest of it, I just learned from there. I mean, whatever I know about music, it was not deep enough I wasn't prepared for the movie.
Yeah. I'm struggling right now. I'm pretty familiar with TSOL. Like I know a few of their songs, but I can't think of what the acronym stands for. I don't know. Oh my God.
I'm terrible.
It's driving me nuts right now. It's something. I'll think.
True Sounds of Liberty.
That's it. I knew it was something that sounded like really kind of strangely MAGA-y. Right. Which obviously is a complete coincidence.
Oh man, we're ruining this band for a lot of people right now.
Yeah. I would confuse it with Jello Biafra all the time. I don't know if I thought they looked similar. The lead from TSOL.
He does look a little bit like him. Yeah.
It was that like having that political punk thing going on. Mm-hmm. So that was like, of course, it stands for whatever True Sounds of Liberty. It's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And
that one, to be fair, I looked up.
Okay.
I was about to.
I honestly thought too, like when I saw a picture of them, I think I saw that too, because I was like, he's got the sleeves rolled up, on the t-shirt. And I think I had that same internal like thought of like, wait, is that
Jello?
Is that the guy from is that the guy from Dead Kennedys?
He's still relevant. He's still moving and grooving.
Oh yeah. He was on Portlandia a little bit ago.
There's a drummer on there. I forget his name.
Fred Armisen.
Yes. Another drummer.
And what's her name that from Slater Kinney? What's her name? She's the other
Brownstein, something Brownstein.
Carrie Brownstein.
Carrie Brownstein,
yeah. All right. So a little bit, we won't get, super deep into the plot of this movie, but I think, setting up, some of the characters to discuss and some of the fucking lines. There's so many good quotable lines in this movie. So this is oddly enough. And Steve, I remember when I was on your podcast. Steve has a podcast called Hop Nation USA, is beer centric podcast. I was on a couple years ago before we even talked about doing this show, and you had a trivia. We did like a horror movie trivia because I was I think being a smart ass and said like, you were like, hey, you want to come on the show? I was like, yeah, but we can't talk about beer. We are only going to talk about horror movies and sandwiches, which is what we talked about the whole time. And one of these, which I think you stumped me on, which was, what is the setting for this movie? And I think one of them was something about like the Tar Man, and then something else was what the setting is for the movie. And I had no idea. It's based in, oddly enough, set in Louisville, Kentucky, but shot in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is such a weird.
Yeah. It's such a weird choice.
Yeah.
I still to this day don't know why that choice was.
Yeah.
Like doing research on Russo.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's a WVU alum.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
So, but that doesn't explain why he, would go to
Isn't
Louisville.
John Carpenter from Kentucky?
Maybe
It's something to do with, his relation. I don't know. It's a stretch, but yeah,
it's such a weird pick.
Yeah. It takes place on 4th of July weekend in Louisville, Kentucky, which is just such a strange thing.
It's why it gets out of hand because it's 4th of July. The boss wants to go home for the party.
Yeah.
That's the onset.
I just Googled this whole thing about Louisville, and all I'm seeing now is that he chose it because it was offbeat and that no one would place this type of film in Louisville.
Oh, so it was it was almost just a smart ass thing. Yeah. Like, I'm going to put it in, contrarian type of thing. But it starts out at, it says like July 3rd, you need a medical supply warehouse in 19. Is it say 1985? Trying to remember what
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's 1984 and 1985. Anyway,
and it tells you what time it is.
Yeah, and then it gives you the timestamp, Always Sunny style. But they have you get introduced to the foreman of this warehouse, Frank, and he's kind of trying to impress the young, employee Freddie by showing him there's this big drum of essentially some sort of toxic waste type of military surplus type of thing. And you come to learn that it's called trioxin, is whatever type of chemical. It was supposed to be some sort of chemical weapon, I think is the implication, right?
They said it was developed by the Army to spray on marijuana. Yeah. So it was like a war on drugs type of chemical.
That's right. Is that in the movie? Did they say that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know how I missed that part. Wow.
Yeah,
it's in there.
So they do. It's in the basement of this building, and he's kind of trying to, kind of show off a little bit. You know what I mean to the young kid, and they accidentally unleash, and this there's a corpse inside this tank that basically just has been assumedly preserved in some capacity because it's an airtight vessel. But then when it opens up, it just basically melts and just turns into this insane gas.
It oxidizes.
Yeah, rapidly oxidizes.
Beer. Like beer,
but
it turns
rapidly
bad.
So. Yeah,
it goes bad.
Yeah, it got stale. The dude got stale in over the years in there.
We have a new off-flavor descriptor. It is called rotting flesh.
It's trioxin is actually the chemical compound. But yeah, so it it just kind of melts the body that's in there, and then this crazy noxious poison gas, it's kind of from Joe Dirt, where he's like, poison mustard gas, oh no, and it just fills the room. And then this other cadaver that's stored there, because it's this medical warehouse, so they have all these cadavers and animals that are used for medical experimentation, all this stuff.
More Merkin work on the cadaver, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to make sure I'm with it now.
See, that the cadaver was almost
alien, man.
Just fully rubber. Yeah. It was it was almost like a Ken doll, like a life-size Ken doll.
Like Blue Man, but just
with
yellow.
A dad bod. Yeah. It was a very weird decision. And then the special effects are very charming in this point, because this is a nice way of putting it, because when you go from him running around the cadaver to when they're chopping his head off, it looks like they just got one of those CPR dummies almost to put it in there for a second. But again, it's very charming. And the best part about it is the Freddie and Frank are they're just owning it. They're going fucking full bore into this scene, this comedy of errors type of thing that's happening. But yeah, they run away, and then you do get your bisected dog that comes back to life, and is essentially mounted and cut in half, but it's yipping, and they just start smacking it with a stick or pipe or something. It's like I said, it's very black comedy, because it's this parts that are really genuinely creepy and kind of disturbing, but it's all played for scenarios are played for laughs, but but the actors are playing it super straight, which is kind of a fun combination.
Yeah, which is one of those things where, like, if for a kid, this movie's terrifying, but for an adult, this movie's a riot.
Yeah,
but like you're saying, like, there's so many great gags in this. Like, a kid would be horrified that you're hitting a half dog with a hammer.
Oh yeah, it's a hammer. It's like a ball peen hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see the butterfly board for, the entomologist.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the butterflies have come back and they're flapping as they're and that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a funny little gag.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know if you guys, I feel like what was great even to that point was even just if you're watching it and then you just like look at the other characters, like where your eye should go, but then turning and seeing what the other actors are doing, like with their faces. I was just cracking up the whole time because I felt like there was this really fun, almost caricature dramatization at times where I'm like, these guys are all theater people,
It is cartoonish.
It's so funny.
They are like projecting to the back of the fucking auditorium, Yeah, it's very cartoonish and almost stage production-y, like you're very right. But that's one of the most charming parts.
Yeah, Frank and Freddy pretty much do not stop throughout the whole film.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
dude, it's distracting. Like, I mean, and like it's distracting in a way where when it starts getting nuts, the screams from them go till they die.
Yeah, Freddy.
Because Freddy,
feel for Freddy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that part, like, other than the dogs getting smacked around, that was sad. But when he takes his ring off, I'm like, oh man, like, or for Frank. When before he, we could do there's no spoilers here, right? When he puts himself,
it's a 1985 movie.
Okay,
if you haven't watched it,
this movie's older than Meg.
It's older than me. Anyways, man, it was it was so. But he screams the entire time, like everything he does from the point of finding till the gas explodes till his death. It's only screams. From everything's an exclamation point.
Yeah,
it's very distracting.
Yeah, it's almost a graphic novel come to life kind of thing. Even with just like the bright colors and the wardrobes, and it's just I fucking love this movie.
And it was a book, it's a 1979 book and then adapted. So I mean,
you're right. You did mention that, and I've never read the book, and actually until you said that, I didn't realize it was a book. But I would be interested to. I imagine it was probably one of those like, pulpy paperback type of thing. So it's probably a quick read.
Yeah.
But I gotta look. It's probably one of those ones where you try to find the novelization of it, and to get like an original copy because it was only printed once, it's like $400 on fucking eBay or something.
100%. Yeah. You made me think of you talked about the chemical compound from I guess it was for the military, but it's funny. And what you just say about finding the book, it reminds me of Resident Evil's T virus. All right. Because there's always like, it's human error, right? From this, and as a bioweapon or whatever you want to call it. And so you have that with Resident Evil. And the reason it popped in my head was the chemical, but thinking about, I don't know, nostalgia. I went to buy the trilogy of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, yeah.
And this was like 10 years ago. They weren't that bad, man. It was like $60 for the trilogy. And I was like, I'll definitely buy that. Yeah. I mean, but again, you try to find it now. It's like the original PS1, like, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
The minute it starts to get a little cool, it's just, you can't find it.
I know. Yeah. I have the director's cut of the original one, which wasn't the original release for PlayStation. And I don't even own a PlayStation anymore.
That the fat box, like the tall box?
It was... the one I have is just like a regular kind of jewel case type of one.
Okay.
But it's got... it has that like shitty cartoonish art that really isn't in the show or in the game at all. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It just says director's cut. I don't know what makes it the director's cut, but that's the one that I own.
Hold on.
That was the first. Resident Evil 2 was the first game I faked sick to stay home from school to play.
Nice.
I remember like pretending I was sick so I could stay home and finish that game.
Worth it.
Oh, so fucking good. So pretty quick, they're joined by their boss, Bert, which until I was like writing down the plot synopsis, I did not make the connection of the guy who works at the mortuary, which he goes and talks him into burning the body, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but his name's Ernie. I never made the connection it was Bert and Ernie before this.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I completely didn't until I started taking notes. and saw Bert and Ernie.
So you wrote it down side by side.
I never made the connection.
But did
really
they have
funny.
the same type of relationship as Bert and Ernie? You know,
Assumedly,
I assume. Like now, I'm thinking about it. Like, oh wait. Did they have like a long-term domestic
I love it.
relationship?
This
they might
movie
have.
is just finding more ways to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's mentioned that they have like a 25-year friendship.
Yes.
So we are trying to appeal to the kids here.
I was going to say the implication is they were in a relationship. Is that what, like it's interesting.
I don't know that they're in a relationship, but they definitely something like where they've been friends for a long time.
You know,
Yeah.
It's a
situationship.
It's a great way to like. I imagine if Bert and Ernie were on like social media, they would be listed as in a relationship, but it's complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they sleep in different beds.
But not anymore. Not anymore. It wouldn't be complicated anymore.
Well, no, they sleep in different beds, though. I don't know.
Okay.
I know not that every couple needs to sleep in the same bed, but I always thought maybe there was some tension there. You know what I mean?
It would definitely be Ernie lists as in a relationship, but Bert would list as complicated.
Oh, see, I thought the other way around. Like Ernie's out there playing the field. Bert's the one that wants to lock him down.
Someone's just hiding their relationship status. We all know those people.
Like Bert's trying to lock him down, and Ernie's the one that's going like, I don't believe in marriage. Like I want to be out there, just
Again,
fucking
I'm gonna
and
go back
sucking.
to situationship. You don't trust those people. You know, I'm in the dating world. Yeah, you don't trust that.
Yeah.
Ernie's trying to polycule with Grover. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, something. He's just trying to fucking live his life.
Okay.
Can you go further into this? Can we dissect that this is all from Sesame
it's
Street?
fan fiction that I have written.
I mean, Freddie could be Grover at this point. We could really get into this, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I have many volumes of fan fiction that I've written. Erotic, or very painfully erotic fan fiction. So they Bert comes into play here, and they discover pretty quickly, because they cut off the initial corpse that's running around. Like I said, the kind of Keystone Cop situation that's playing out. They cut his head off, and then that doesn't kill him. He just runs around with no head on. So they quickly realize that the zombies can survive, independently. Their arms, their legs, whatever, will continue to survive. So Bert has this genius idea. He's going to take him over to the mortuary, where Ernie has an incinerator, and they're going to burn the body. Which, such a great scene of him easing into the question of asking him what he's going to do and what's in the bag. And I love that fucking scene. But ultimately, this basically just spreads the gas around. So this is the scene from Hocus Pocus where they burn the witches and they go up through. Mm-hmm. So what I like to pretend is, if it was raining that night, because then eventually the witches came back at, Bette Midler and the like, they all reformed. If it was raining, would the situation have been different? And would that movie
acid rain?
like
Yes,
this?
it would have still happened. It would have gone into the water, and they would have drank it, and everyone still would have been zombies. So actually, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know if it happens with witches. I don't know how.
Well, that's what the remake
comes into play. That's the remake.
Yeah,
they're
reimagining it to be your version.
Yes. God, fingers crossed.
How many times does this go over? Does it work with witches? Does it work with Draculas?
Does it work with Frankensteins? I
think a Frankenstein would just be zombies again.
Yeah.
But if you burn a piece of Godzilla, do you get a bunch of Godzillas?
God damn it, man! That's a whole different
What if everyone
fanfic.
turned into Godzillas? That'd be like out of this situation.
Or they all turn into little baby Godzilla.
Oh my God.
Oh, a bunch of Godzukis? No, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Would that be? I feel like today that this would actually turn into a Baby Yoda situation.
Like a really cute.
Oh fuck yeah.
Baby Godzilla.
That just like spits
I mean, you've seen
out fire.
Godzuki, right? He's cute as fuck.
I don't know if
People
I have.
hate on him. He's very cute.
Fuck Godzuki.
Godzuki. That's a rock band name too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I believe that. That
Oh, God.
Do they do Gojira covers?
Gojira, I was just gonna say Gojira. Yeah, I'm stuck on the soundtrack from. You brought up Hocus Pocus. Now I can't get Sarah Jessica Parker singing her like enchantment song to the children.
Oh my God,
that song,
man,
it was enchanting. Like as a young kid,
you're still under her spell.
You know what else was really enchanting for me as like a 12-year-old was how far she had her boobs pushed up. And she was on that broom. Jesus Christ. That was a coming of age tale for me. Between that song and the boob situation. I mean, we all know this. This is not a secret now that all Disney movies are just meant to make like adolescent kids horny. Like that's literally all they're meant to do. That's part of their fucking blueprint.
They just had to make it a little bit tolerable for parents though too, you know, so
yeah,
I think that accounts for it.
Yeah,
Dad's gotta get horny too.
That's true. That's true.
They're definitely trying to unlock stuff. Like,
yeah,
you know, if you saw The Lion King, they drew Nala way too hot for like a regular lion. And so, like, if you're a furry, that unlocked it early on you.
Why is this lion so sexy? Like, I said that to myself as like a 10-year-old. Yeah.
And all the dads are just thinking about Beyonce is what's happening.
Yeah.
That's the remake. I'm sorry, I don't know what we're talking about, but whatever.
We were talking about the cartoon lion that made us horny. So this is a real, like, we're airing a lot of dirty laundry. So back to Bert and Ernie. They released the deadly gas, you know, out of the smokestack of the mortuary, and then it's raining and it all ends up in the soil, and then this toxic rain, you know, brings all the zombies to life. So this whole cemetery starts to become, you know, reanimated corpses that jump out of the ground and you know, in various states of decay. So meanwhile, Tina, who we mentioned before, she's kind of the straight-laced one that's dating Freddie, and the friends are kind of like getting into their night kind of thing. And this is where you're introduced to Spider, Trash, Scuzz, Suicide, all these, I mean, just great fucking names. I mean, they're like if the American Gladiators and the Street Sharks came together. That's this fucking group.
I have a serious question though. Do you guys think I could pull off that chain from like my ear to like my Monroe here? Like my piercing?
Bring it back.
You could put. I remember the first time I saw somebody in the mall wearing one of those when I was a kid. I was like, I think I was like 10, and I was like, that fucking rules.
That piercing is scarred in my memory. Like, Meg, you talk about it, like, please don't do it, because all I have in my head is another horror movie. If you've watched, is it Bride of Chucky?
Sure, that's one of them.
Oh, right. What am I saying? Sorry.
No, but
one of the Chuckies. I think it's Bride. There's this like, I don't know, like Marilyn Manson looking fellow dating Jennifer Tilly.
What's her name?
Well, yeah, right. So Jennifer Tilly, and then she puts him on the bed. She's like, you know, it's like a femdom thing, and she wants to chain him to the bed with the handcuffs. Mm-hmm. And he has that exact piercing that Suicide has. And then just like she puts the doll, and he's like, oh, this is getting weird. And then the doll rips it out of his face. I'm like, oh my God.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh my God. Whatever age I was, it was too young to see that, man.
That is pretty intense.
Yeah, that was Bride. I'm pretty sure that's Bride of Chucky.
Okay. I was nervous it was going to relive that with this movie too. I was like, no, please leave him alone.
It is weird that never happened because he is like the super angsty, like kind of aggro one of the group, but he has a car, so they kind of put up with his bullshit.
Right.
Like that's the character.
You know that.
He has like this giant like 60s convertible fucking Impala. I don't even know what the hell it is that seats like 40 people, and they all just kind of hop in there.
For sure.
Yeah, there's so many people jammed into this old convertible.
It's like Ash Williams' car from Evil Dead.
Yeah. It reminds me of that. I immediately thought of the Love Shack with the B-52s song where he's like sucks about got a car that seats about 20.
Oh yeah,
like, this is the car they're talking about, I think. Mm-hmm. And the conversation as they're walking up the street in this is so fucking good. They're just saying such weird, like, I just love the lines. I like, not even, they're dumb, but still kind of cool. I don't know. It's like they're just like this very nihilistic group of teenagers. And he's like something about, he's like, I just remember, you like sex with death? And he's like, yeah, I like sex with death. He's like, yeah, why don't you go fuck off and die? Such a fucking burn. And of course, like the one girl just keeps like talking about how bad she wants to party, which they never like. Is it safe to say they never party?
They don't party. Not with booze and
they
drugs.
don't party.
Yeah, like they don't party. I'm like, what? It reminded me of a fucking what's that Andy Samberg movie where he's like, you don't party. He's like, I know for a fact you don't party. Like this, I just kept like imagining that scene because I'm like, what do they mean by Hot Rod? What do they mean by party? Like this group, when I think party, I'm thinking you're gonna go like huff gas and like punch a tree in the cemetery, you know, but then they just don't. Like no one ever gets fucked up or like anything really happens.
Nobody's walking around with 6-packs.
Yeah.
So they're not drinking. So then you have to assume they're doing drugs, but then they never do drugs.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you guys doing? Like
you just want to sit in the cemetery? Yeah.
Yeah. Trash doesn't even get high to take her clothes off. She just does that.
She was like, I always thought, okay, she was the one who was like fucked up and maybe they cut scenes out of them, you know, getting stoned. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't add up that well.
No. It doesn't make sense. And it would make more sense because again, the gas is meant to be an anti-marijuana thing.
Yeah.
So it would be funny if they were all fucking potheads getting high.
Yeah.
You know, because then the gas is technically fighting them as it comes back to life.
Do you think that could have been cut out at some point too?
Why would you cut that?
But even for ratings, that's what I mean.
Nah.
Like time and place of when that would come out, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, 85. You remember it was like, I mean, we're fucking war on drugs in it pretty hard. So maybe they did. Maybe that was like something that they thought they can give up. You know, when the ratings board came back after him for it. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they traded that so we got full frontal.
Yeah, or some of the more like gruesome scenes too. Because I mean, this is around the time where the Friday the 13th films were catching all that flack and getting just gutted. You know, so many scenes were getting cut out of those movies because the MPAA was just like censoring the fuck out of everything.
Yeah. But then I don't know. You got to think about Day of the Dead, which same year and everything, and Lifeforce same year.
Yeah.
And there's all that nudity and violence in both of them. And
I wonder if it was like, yeah, but there weren't like, I feel like, it was almost
Day of the Dead wasn't even nice. Like Day of the Dead is mean all the way through.
It is.
So there's at least levity in this film. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
For whatever, maybe because it was George Romero and he had more of a pedigree. And like I said, you know, Friday the 13th was taking a lot of
pedigree than
that
Dan
flack.
O'Bannon, writer of the Alien film.
Yeah, but people don't know what the fuck who writers are. You know what I mean?
You hear Tarantino talk. I mean, in some interviews, he should just get away with stuff. I mean, how many people can just show what Tarantino shows in, you know, certain films at the same time frame as other films coming out? And it's like brutal stuff. Like, gets away with it, you know. And
yeah, you wonder if they could grease the wheels in some capacity there, you know, from a political standpoint. I don't know.
Yeah, Tarantino has definitely earned enough clout that if his next film was mostly dongs, it could be, and it'd still get an R.
Is that the title as well as the themes?
Mostly dongs.
Yeah, cool.
It's just called dongs, and then parentheses mostly.
Mostly.
It's because it's artsy, though.
It's artsy dongs. They're black and white. So yeah, a lot of, like I said, comedy of errors kind of playing out in the warehouse here. So this is Trash, you know, starts stripping and dancing in the cemetery. Tina goes off to the warehouse first and like wanders into the basement. And then this is where she comes in contact with, you know, probably the most recognizable, I guess, bad guy, if you will, of this, which is the singular, you know, most recognizable zombie, which is the Tar Man. So she comes in contact with Tar Man. Is just like, to this day, that effect holds up so freaking well. And it has so much to do with the choice, the special effect choices, the fact that they made him like covered in slime, like we've talked about before. You make anything look wet and it's going to cover up a lot. You know, visually speaking, but also the performance of the actor. Like he walks like he has been in a barrel dissolving for like years. You know what I mean? It's just the physicality of the performance. And I forgot to look up. I meant to look up who plays the Tar Man, and I completely forgot. But it, like that, the physicality of that performance matched with the mask and of course the really over the top voice, like the booming demonic almost voice, was a bold decision that kind of paid off.
Yeah, it's like that performance is on the same level as like Flyboy from Dawn of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
with at the end of the film, with the way his movement sticks out, with like his ankle is rolled over the entire time, and his like he's just spinning a revolver in his hand, and it's such like so yeah, they're both so like iconic in the way they move, and they stand out from every other zombie.
Yeah.
Like where most of the other zombies in this film just kind of like just run at you and go.
Yeah, and they look like
people
not that far from Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead zombies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they've got the bluish tint. They might be a little more grotesque, textured face wise. Whereas Dawn of the Dead, like a lot of the zombies, which I love that movie, but a lot of the movies just look like, oh, we made you look kind of bluish green, you know?
Right.
Tarman, Alan Troutman, and Robert Bennett. I think Alan Troutman played him in the second one. But Robert Bennett, I think the names ring a bell.
And yeah, no, it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Tar Man had like just with the way he walked, how convincing it was, some kind of physicality of the costume to make that to make it so that he couldn't walk regular. Because just thinking about like last night, thinking about Boris Karloff. Last night I was at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. Shout out to them.
Oh, I love the Mahoning.
Yeah. So it was Monster Mash weekend, and The Mummy was the first up last night, and so there's Boris Karloff, and my grandfather told me, he's one of the guys who got me into horror. They put weights in his shoes so he could walk like Frankenstein.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So his boots were weighted like however they needed to be heavy for him, and then. I think the same thing when you think about Marlon Brando playing the Godfather, stuffing cotton balls in the side of his mouth so he could talk like, which is another trick that Lux Interior did to the Cramps when he recorded the cover of She Said. Anyways, I'm getting in the weeds. Sorry.
No, that's super interesting. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
He's such an interesting guy. Good God. We could do a whole episode on him and Poison Ivy and the fucking, just the Cramps in general.
Next time.
Next time. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I wonder if they did, if it's like he literally looked like he was covered in like used motor oil. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I wonder if it was one of those things where like it was slippery and he was like trying to keep his feet anchored while he was doing this kind of like gyrating, jiggly almost type of motion.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a good performance.
Don't fall.
I know exactly. Like, and then he has to he doesn't have to deliver the lines. Obviously, it was like ADR, but like he had to like project the physicality of the voice. You know what I mean? Which he does it in this very dramatic way. But so he comes in contact with Tina. Comes in contact with the Tar Man, and. You're kind of jumping back and forth now. I don't remember if this line's before this or after. My notes might be out of order here. But before, Linnea Quigley's character jumps up and starts doing the whole, do dancing thing. This line's the most memorable one to me ever. Like, because I remember watching this movie the first time when I was like probably too young to watch it. Like, I was probably 9 or 10. And I remember watching this and her going like, do you ever fantasize about dying? And the way she's delivering it, it's in this like very manic way. And she's getting like super horny with it. You know what I mean? And she's like talking about basically fantasizing about like old men, like eating her like ripping her apart and eating her alive.
Yeah.
Like being cannibalized. And I just remember like as like a 10-year-old being like, are there people like that? Like I was very like traumatized by it as a kid. And then of course like infatuated by it as well. But yeah, that's such
finding your new kinks at ripe age of 10.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, it was that. And it was like, Playboys in my uncle's garage. There's only 2 avenues back then. It's not like I could Google it.
The whole world.
Yeah.
Well, that's her end. Her demise is her wish.
That's true. Yeah. She gets it. She gets it ultimately
by a bunch of old men and women. I mean, you couldn't really tell, but I mean, given, but they're dead, so they got to be however old to be that decomposed. I don't know. Anyways, it was cool.
Yeah, in a sense, they are older than all of us. I mean, they've stopped living. but yeah, she's this scene. I remember she's getting real psyched up thinking about it. And then, we talked about his voice, and they kind of come in and save Tina from the tar man. But then is it suicide that gets killed right there? Because she locks herself in like the cadaver closet
it's a locker. It's like a
it's just a locker.
Yeah, that's right. It's a locker. But then the tar man luckily is savvy enough to use a winch, which is like, this takes zombie, like the zombies are super intelligent in a way here where the problem solving is beyond any other zombie movie you can think of, certainly up to this point. But at the same time, they're like kind of self-aware about their silliness. Like they crack jokes and shit. It's so weird. I love it.
Send more paramedics is the
that's the best line ever. And send more cops.
Send more cops too.
Oh, so good.
But they're obviously very self-aware of themselves at that point, because they're just like, what do we do for help? Oh, send more paramedics. That would help.
Yeah.
Well, so they make the zombies like sort of like sentient, right? And that's what you would say in this movie. So that's like, it takes it there on the sequel to Night of the Living Dead. But how long does Night of the Living Dead franchise take till what's the name of the famous zombie in Day of the Dead when he can learn to use a gun?
Oh, Bub.
Yep. Yeah. So that was that the third one, right? Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Day of the Dead. Yep.
So I don't know. It's just it.
Well, I mean, and you can again just back to the Flyboy zombie in Dawn of the Dead. He's the only one that is aware of the back room when he gets turned, and then he knows how to get in there, which leads all the other zombies into that room. So like there is a learning curve with them, and then there's even more so in Land of the Dead. So
yeah, it's funny because the all the other ones are like they're acting on instinct. Even Bub, like he's saluting, like because he was in the military when he was alive, so he's just acting on like instinct and like ingrained muscle memory almost, whereas these zombies are like they are like what's the word I'm looking for? Like malicious.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Bub, like the zombies and the other ones, you just think like, oh, they're just acting off of like almost animalistic instinct, where in this one they are like they want to do harm to people and enjoy doing harm to people and like joking almost about like the whole like they're planting traps and shit.
Right. Yeah. They're doing ambushes because the one cop zombie is standing in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
To do the ambush.
With the rain suit on.
The flag.
Yeah. He waves them down.
But they're malicious. But the intent is they're in pain, as you learn from the woman.
Yeah. I guess it's self-interest kind of thing. Yeah. So it's not really malicious necessarily. Yeah. It's more like you learn, and this is pretty much around this point. I know they get to the mortuary because they saw Freddy like go into the mortuary or whatever, and then the group thinks they're gonna get there through the cemetery. They all get attacked, and that's when like shit really hits the fan. And Trash is killed, and it's Chuck and Casey, I think, go back to the warehouse, and then Spider, Tina, and Scuzz go back to the mortuary. Anyway, yeah, and this is when they start to figure out that they're like self-aware and they're in pain, and you get that very famous scene of like the topless half a woman zombie on the table, then she is like communicating to them how much it hurts to be dead, and how she has
needs
a line
brains. And she says like, I can feel myself rot. I love that line too. Yeah.
That line's in a bunch of songs too. Like people have used that in song, like in multiple songs. I feel like those three, I think it's Spider, Tina, and Scuzz. They discover Frank and Freddy, who are starting to turn, and they do a basically like a quick triage, and they're like, you're dead. and then it's like I said, it's funny because it's such a silly thing to say because he's sitting there talking to him, but they're like, no, you're dead. You don't have like vital signs. But then it's also like heartbreaking because Freddy's like, I don't want to
be dead.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be dead. But also like there's no other circumstance. And like the genius of the scene is like, it's not I don't want to die. It's already a done deal.
Right.
Bud. You're already dead, but you're self-aware that you're dead.
It's, it's when, because like the paramedics kind of discovered that earlier, but now it's to the point, I think, when what we're talking about at this point is that like Freddy has a bunch of blood pooling in his back and he has rigor mortis setting in. and like Arnie's like trying to not just say like, oh, you have rigor mortis because you are dead. You have been dead.
You're a corpse. Yeah.
He's like, rigor mortis. And like, again, like we were talking about earlier, Freddy and Frank at this point are just all screams.
Only screams, man.
Yeah. Yep. And then, so they are starting to get the full picture of what's happening and all the corpses rising out of the ground. So they like are barricading themselves in the mortuary. And then there's this whole discussion about what are we going to do? Are we going to stick it out? Are we going to get the hell out of here? All that stuff. And then right around this time is when you get that, the classic line of and it's funny, the zombie that crawls up and hears the CB radio and crawls up into the cab of the
ambulance.
The ambulance, yeah. He's like, this is dispatch, and he actually goes like, come in, dispatch.
Yeah.
like he knows the protocol for talking on the CB. And he's like, send more paramedics. Like, it's just such a like utilitarian like sentence of just like, he just wants to get the message across. So Scuzz gets killed, and they start dropping like flies at this point. And when the police and paramedics arrive on the scene, again, it's this big, crazy ambush that happens. And Frank and Freddy are, becoming zombies at this point. So Bert locks them in. What was the room?
Chapel.
The chapel.
Yeah, it's like the church. Yeah, the chapel. And then there, Tina is in there, and she refuses to abandon Freddy, even though he's, we've established that he's dead and he's turning into a zombie. So this is like I said, pretty emotionally charged scene, honestly.
But then also broken apart by him being like, "Look what you did! You made me rip my hand all the way off," or something like that. Definitely pulled that one. It was great.
Yeah. And then he ultimately tries to eat her. And then, they rescue her and, they run in and rescue her kind of thing. So is there a name for the there's like in Day of the Dead Day of the Dead. They have, Dr. Tongue, and these types of like iconic zombies. I know Bub has a name, but they tend to have these things where they give like the Tar Man. His name's not Tar Man. That's like a fan thing. They've kind of given him a name over time. Does the zombie on the table, the half woman zombie on the table, have a name?
I don't know that she does. I thought it was just like half corpse, but
yeah. It's interesting that doesn't, because it's like one of the most iconic, zombies I can think of in films, and like there's so many ones that don't. But
yeah, it's just called half lady corpse. I think it's possible just because that's not like a full actress in that, because like that's all puppet.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Yeah, it's not an actor. It's just
not
puppet,
an actor that you're trying to remember and like exalt in some way.
Yeah, that's true.
For their otherwise lesser known part, because Bub is in all makeup, Tar Man's in all makeup. You never see that actor, but
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Frank sets himself on fire. I think soon after, because he can kind of still like still has control of himself a little bit, and he's like, "Nah, I'm just going to set myself on fire." Bert and Spider get out of the.
Just quickly, this is something I noticed on my rewatch. There earlier in the movie, when they first burn the first corpse in the crematorium, Frank is like has an aside to Freddy. He goes, I could operate that.
So
and then later he does.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, all I thought about was like, yeah, some favor we owe him. We're just hitting the button, you know?
He's like, I could do that. And then later he does.
Well,
like,
right around that time, was it not? I don't understand what this pause was. When his leg, his pant leg gets torn by the zombie, he, you know, they're like, you think you'll help us? There's like a beat of like a minute where he's cutting off the remainder of the pant leg. And I just couldn't understand, like, how did that make the whole movie? How did they get a minute of pant leg cutting?
Yeah.
Right.
It just didn't make sense. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny or what it was supposed to, I guess.
I wonder if it was like one of those things that was in the script and it really didn't pan out on camera, but they kept it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You know, I'm projecting this on there, but I can imagine there being a behind the scenes argument about if to leave that and how much. You know what I mean?
You're right.
And John Russo's like, that's a huge part of the book.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a whole chapter, honestly.
Don't you understand about the pants?
That's chapter 9. It's the pants chapter. It's iconic.
It just took way too long. That was my thing.
There is definitely some interesting editing choices and mistakes.
Yeah.
Because like the first encounter, what's her face? Tina has with Tarman.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cut where like she's running up the stairs and Tarman's looking up at her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually a take from from later in the film, because you can see the blood on Tarman's teeth. So it's a take from when he's already attacked Suicide, but Suicide hasn't even made it into the Unida yet.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I didn't notice that, but it makes a lot of sense when I was reading about it, and how much of a prick the director was. Apparently, they didn't tell her, Elizabeth, what's her name, who plays Tina? Oh my gosh, it's escaped me right now. Elizabeth
Beverly Randolph.
Oh my God, I was so far off. Beverly Randolph. He didn't tell her that she was going to fall through the stairs.
Oh God.
Yeah, like there's a story going around that like I think he maybe denied, but she like adamantly insisted that they set up this stunt but didn't tell her that the stairs were going to break.
Oh shit.
So she screamed during that part, like, I guess very like realistically, but like her reaction was kind of unnatural to the story kind of thing. So I wonder if that's where they had to piece that scene together because
she yelled, Dan O'Bannon, you fuck.
Yeah, as she's falling, she was like, you piece of shit, Dan. Yeah.
And that's not a character we've established in the film.
Yeah,
so.
Dan O'Bannon is not a character. Yeah, I read that. I was like, how do you not quit if somebody does something like that to you? But apparently he was like a total prick to her the whole time. So Bert and Spider trying to get to the police car, and they basically get to the police car, and then there's this like moral conundrum where it's like, we're not going to make it back. Let's just fucking go. And they just leave Ernie and Tina behind. And she's like, they left us. They fucking left us. You know, it's this whole like kind of another emotionally charged scene. And they end up in the mortuaries or wherever. I guess they're in the mortuary at that point, in the attic. While Freddie is trying to get to him. So her boyfriend's trying to get up to the attic. And Bert and Spider do get back to the warehouse, and they find Casey and Chuck, and
somehow kill Tarman.
Yeah, they kill. How do they kill Tarman?
They
I'm trying to
bat
remember.
his head off.
Oh yeah, they knock his head.
What doesn't work with the cadaver, but works with Tarman. Yeah. So I don't understand. But
I guess he was like dissolving in that like drum for enough time.
Sure.
Where I guess that's why he walks like that, is like his bones are all jellified. I don't know. The muscles work because apparently, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But because
also why didn't Suicide come back?
Yeah.
Suicide would have been in the basement as a zombie too, but I don't know.
Huh.
I guess I took it as like his brains got eaten. He didn't just get bit. Tarman ate his dang brains out. So he was like full on food. I don't know. Maybe I'm cutting a lot of breaks here. So Bert is trying to get in contact with the cops, and then learns that shit's just gone wild. Like they got pretty much completely ambushed, and then Bert decides to call the customer service number on the drum, which is such a silly, dumb thing. It's like if you had a complaint about your box of Wheaties, you could call the number on the bottom and leave a voicemail kind of thing. But this was for a chemical weapon or something. So he does. Somebody picks up, an army guy picks up the phone. I don't know, at the Pentagon or some shit. I don't know. And he's telling him yeah, there's fucking zombies everywhere. Shit's hitting the fan. And they just are all right. We're just gonna nuke the place. So on the morning of July 4th, they nuke this whole town, which is just such a wild decision. Because you're rooting for these people, and it's this whole, of course it's a zombie movie. So it's this fight for survival. Mm-hmm. And then this just nihilistic, bleak, just fuck it, we're blowing up Louisville. We're just gonna literally nuke the whole town.
Yes, problem solved.
With just
you hear something?
A bottle rocket.
I know I've never been bombed, but I imagine you don't hear something like that. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like a bottle rocket that you got right over the border in Ohio. But they nuke Louisville. And then you hear this voiceover of the army general, whoever the hell he is Colonel Glover is his name, which I didn't realize that was it, but he is telling the other officer that basically this was great. It went really great. We nailed it. And he's just couldn't be more positive about the whole thing. And then, it's just a small area that was blown up, and
only killed 4,000 people. No big.
Yeah. So few people. We really nailed this.
The rain cleaned it up.
Yeah. And then you see quick, you kind of get the inclination there that this toxic rain is, he says, it's putting out the fires and all this stuff. But, you hear zombies, kind of screaming underground.
Sidebar, Toxic Rain, also a great band name or just a great song.
Toxic Rain, yeah. Or Toxic Rain sounds like a song name. You're right. Yeah. So, you pretty much can tell at that point that, it's about to start all over again. So they think they've solved the problem. But of course, that is not the case. And, dumb bastards just kind of made it worse. So, again, bleak as fuck, nihilistic ending. All the characters you were rooting for are dead. They got nuked by their own government. Finn.
Has anybody here done the sequels? I have not.
Yeah.
I started watching the second one because there's 3, right?
There is more.
Is there more?
There is 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The second one, I think it was one of those ones where I started watching, I was like, oh, this sucks. And then I got super stoned and just watched the rest of it, but was kind of looking at my phone the whole time. So it was not good. And then 3, I did not like the second one.
Meh, I'll have to go back and watch.
It has fans, which I don't understand. It's not bad. I've watched so many movies that are way, way worse. It's just on the heels of this, which is one of the best horror comedies in my mind. This is I've seen this movie a dozen times.
Yeah.
So on the heels of that, it's a giant drop off.
Okay.
But if it was just its own thing, I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers. But
yeah, 3 is a weird one because it was made in the 90s, and it has such, I don't know, there's such a weird thing with her sticking glass in her arms and making herself into a monster.
It's a Wolverine type of thing. Yeah. I've seen bits. I've definitely either seen bits and pieces or probably saw clips on fucking, Instagram or something like that. But I've seen this and I was like, what the hell does this have to do with the spirit of that original movie? I don't know, but yeah.
I feel like I remember that one being on Cinemax a lot back in the day.
When I see the cover of the DVD or the poster, I'm like, that looks like if Uwe Boll tried to make a Resident Evil movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other two, which are Necropolis and Rave to the Grave, were both. I believe they were both sci-fi original films, and they were shot back to back, and they are fucking garbage.
Oh my god!
Man, I really
sci-fi
want
originals.
Rave in the Grave or Grave on the Grave one that feel like that has legs, you know, as a name. Like the
title.
name
It's a
alone.
good name. It's a good name.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. Is it gets you to watch it because you're like, Raven, sick. Let's watch it.
I mean, I think
it's
like,
on
if we have a
sci-fi.
party-
You're laying on the couch, half asleep, and then it's trash.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like I think there needs to be a Halloween themed party called that too. Dance
Grave in
party.
the Grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do my Halloween party this year. Grave in the Grave. We'll do
Say
a bunch
Grave
of
in the Grave.
grape.
Either way, grapes in the grave. It's a wine night.
It's a wine tasting. Yeah.
Everything's it had to be. I mean, you said it's garbage. I have to imagine if sci-fi touched it, it's got to be all CGI at that point, right?
Oh yeah.
No.
No,
Really?
No? Okay.
No, because I think it would have been early enough. I think it was like 2005, 2006. So like there's a decent mix, but what you really get is just a lot of nothing. Like you don't get a lot of practical effects or CG effects. It's just garbage.
Within about 3 years after that is when CGI, whatever package came out that Sci-Fi bought, that they started applying to all those fucking horrible CGI movies, I feel like came out while I was in college. So like it was like it was probably 2007, 2008, you know, when they really got into like.
Pretty sure the package is just hiring people from China or India.
That's true.
Because that's what Marvel does. They just hire whole studios from China and say, work forever, die maybe.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Make our Hulk movie.
You have to look up when Adobe Premiere was first released. I bet they line up those two things.
Probably.
Yeah.
When you said that make our Hulk movie, I immediately thought of Rita Repulsa going, make my monster grow. But it's just fucking some asshole at Disney just like screaming it over the phone at a bunch of people in
It's just
China.
Mickey Mouse screaming at Chinese people.
Make my monster grow. So guys, that is the Return of the Living Dead, which
I have
is
to admit,
just
that
a
was my
fucking
first
treat.
watch. Is that
Really?
Yeah, it was my first
You
watch.
dug? How'd you
I was
feel
into
about
it.
it?
I was into it. I think
I
it was
wish I
fun.
knew it was your first watch. I would ask you earlier. Yeah, it was. It's a fun fucking flick.
I definitely want to watch it again.
Yeah,
It's fun.
Fun
I
movie.
mean, let's see if the fiance wants to watch it later. I don't think she's very interested, to be honest.
yeah. I remember this is one where I think Kate and I watched it together, and she lost interest pretty quick. But she
Are you
was
talking
very.
about your first date?
Yes, the night we met, I strapped her to a chair and made her watch this.
That was a good joke. I like that
Yeah.
one. I'm gonna keep that.
Yeah. No, I think early on she was like, oh, this is kind of seems cool. With the the stupid dialogue, and them on the street and all this stuff. And then she was like, why is she naked dancing on the like, why is there fires in a graveyard? You know what I mean? Like, why are there multiple eternal flames in this random graveyard? And then I think she checked out pretty quick, but it's a fun one. We were just talking about this last night. We were at a friend's house, and she was basically saying that, like, I was like, I think, you've come around on the genre, a little bit. And she informed me that no, she had not. I was like, we just watched. I felt like I made this huge progress with her when she watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space and was like, that was a very entertaining movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like, and I was like, yes, like we're getting somewhere. And then no, she informed me last night that is not the case. That is
Maybe
a personal favor to me every time we watch one of these movies.
Did you get that Killer Clowns backpack that I sent you yet?
No, I did not.
I sent Brian a link. It was like a Spencer's link, and it was basically a backpack that had it was a Killer Clowns like backpack, and I was like, can you please buy this and just bring it to every professional meeting that you attend?
I didn't buy the backpack, but I did turn that art into a full back tattoo. So it's pretty
Makes
much
sense. That makes sense.
Things that would actually never surprise me if you did that.
Yeah.
If you're in the Yakuza, I believe that.
Yeah. If you're in the Yakuza.
That's fucking hilarious.
Brian's Yakuza tattoo is just killer clowns or chubby shorty.
Yeah.
If that's still on Netflix, I've never watched it. I'm pretty intrigued.
Oh, I think it's on Tubi.
Sure.
I don't have Tubi. I don't know.
Free.
Everybody
It's
has
free.
Tubi.
It's so free.
Got it.
It's
Got it.
wildly free.
Okay.
It's
Wildly
free. Yeah, it's so good.
He's not
I think
converted
they
yet.
might. I'm getting to a point where I'm hoping that they start paying me for the amount of people that I've gotten to download Tubi.
I'm just waiting for you to actually get them to sponsor us for how much you talk about Tubi.
I know they are. Listen, they don't get to where they're at by giving money away. So, but yes, it is. I have confirmed 1988's Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a scant 1 hour and 26-minute runtime, and it is worth every moment.
Deal.
You're gonna love it.
My night is booked. Thank you.
Yeah. So once again, guys, there's Steve just informed. I completely forgot. We've got an extra Monday in August. So we have another episode to fill in next week before our September Showdown episode, which I will remind you, our September Showdown episode, the topic is going to be Satanic Panic. We are going to have The Omen. We're going to have John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, and we're going to have Some Bitch and Rosemary's Baby. Mm-hmm. So go out and watch those movies and prepare for that Showdown episode. You got a full damn 2 weeks because we got a special little extra Monday in there. So go out and check that out next week, where maybe we'll do another little Tubi roulette. That has treated us well. We are actually... we're due to get fucked pretty hard because we've been really lucky with Tubi Roulette. Drew, that's when we just scroll on Tubi horror section for 5 to 10 minutes and then release it, and we have to watch whatever it lands on and talk about it.
Eyes closed, give it a scroll point.
Yeah. Which last time we ended up with something really good. What was
Mayhem.
it? Mayhem, which is a fun movie. But yeah, it can backfire. Tubi giveth and Tubi taketh away.
Okay, I see. This is a form of religion for you folks.
It is for me personally.
Now you're
I don't
getting
speak for everyone.
Listen to the episode. What was that crocodile one where we covered it? Which one? Alligator? Rogue.
Just
Just listen to that episode, and you will understand.
Wasn't Bog one too?
No, Bog was a punishment film from you.
Yes, but
scumbag.
Stupid bitch.
But Bog, I found Bog via doing my own personal Tubi roulette.
Wait, hold on. Was Rogue? That wasn't the Sam Raimi crocodile movie, was it?
No.
Okay. What was that one?
Yeah,
that's the Australian one.
Yeah,
but definitely Sam Raimi did one just recently, like 2 years ago.
Wasn't it? All I can think of is Slither, Crawl.
Yeah.
I didn't see. I want to see that. See, I'm real bad, man. I'm real bad at watching movies, so I got
Crawl is fine. Crawl was pretty enjoyable movie. Rogue was also pretty enjoyable, but terrible.
It's fine.
Fair
in a fun way.
Fair enough.
But in any case, if you want to in the future help us pick these, or if you've got a damn Minisode topic for us, we've actually done a couple listener requests for Minisodes in recent weeks. If you got one of those, send them on over to us on the social medias. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, but if you don't follow us already, again, fuck you. But you probably should get out there, follow us on the social medias at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hal Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever podcast on Facebook. We even got one of them damn TikToks. Meg, how's that TikTok following going over there? Pretty good?
We're living large over here.
We're up to maybe 60 followers, I bet, on the TikToks.
No, it's almost 100.
No shit.
It's almost 100.
We're getting there. We're
so
closing in on 10,000 on the Instagram.
Your Insta's good. It's a strong Insta.
Yeah. Guess who runs the old Instagram? This guy. You know who runs the TikTok? This degenerate there with the red shirt on who hasn't posted in 9 months. Get on it.
I have a life. I work.
How are we gonna get the fucking kids in the fold? How are
Bring
we
us our Gen Z.
Pollute the children if we don't have a TikTok following.
Let's be real. It's all of us millennials
that's
watching these TikToks.
I have a TikTok now, although it's only for work. I don't have my personal one. And I'm scared by it still. Terrified. Don't understand it. Anyway, or if you want to send us one of them old fashioned emails, it's at HalloweenIsForeverPod@gmail.com. Yeah. Drew, what do you got? What do you got coming up? We didn't even talk about Horrornauts, which I've been listening to as well lately.
Well, I appreciate it. Man, I thank you. I just figured there's so much to talk about. Like, I didn't want to muddy the waters. So, I mean, I'll be down to talk about it or, another episode or something, man. But, yeah. Okay. Actually, the Horrornauts, if for anybody listening, that's my other band. So, first band is Drew and the Blue. And then the other band, Horrornauts. Now, Horrornauts is like every time a new person listens to it, invariably they will come up and say, "Do you watch Stranger Things?" And I don't. And I know it's great. And I have no problem. I know it's a great show. Everyone tells me it's great. So, okay, that's nice. But the Horrornauts are essentially a dark wave, synth wave sort of band.
Ooh, up my alley.
Yeah, but with vocals. So, something along the lines of like, I want to do it justice. Maybe in the vein of like Carpenter Brute or something like that with words. I humbly say that. I don't compare us to Carpenter Brute. I'm just giving an example. But so that's kind of the thing we do. And right now it's super busy, man. Like we obviously have Sly Fox Can Jam coming up with Drew and the Blue. And then that's let me think, the same weekend, the night before, the night after is Attic Brewing Company in Philly. The Horrornauts are playing there for Funktoberfest. So that's happening. And then, I'll keep you guys, all you guys are invited. The Horrornauts is actually throwing a big Halloween party on, whatever the weekend before Halloween. It's at the 23rd,
22nd, 23rd.
Yeah. In Muhlenberg, there's the Jim Dietrich Park. It's got an old farmhouse right on the river. It looks like pretty spooky. Especially in October, it gets like real foggy and stuff. Anyways, so we're throwing like a house party.
No, sick.
A rented house party, but yeah, no, it's gonna be cool, man. So Horrornauts is getting really busy. You can check us out on everything: Spotify, Apple Music. We also, this is a whole nother episode, so dare I even mention it? The Horrornauts are a band, and they are also a puppet show.
Yes, which I did explain to Meg and Steve. So we do want to hear how these things intersect.
Yeah, okay.
Because I love me some fucking puppets.
Okay, all right. So
yeah.
Oh man. All right. So let me just start by saying,
yeah,
my partner in crime is Kevin Stratton, who's really the main writer for the Horrornauts. All right. So in Drew and the Blue, it's a collective of three of us. In the Horrornauts, he writes like basically all the music, and I'll write lyrics or melodies and stuff. But again, he's like the workhorse for it. So I just show up and I sing. I'm like, what do you want me to sing? You know what I mean? Okay, I'll sing this. So it looks like I'm like at times the lead singer of the band, but again, man, he takes the charge on it. And so as I speak about it, I'm trying to make sure I give him proper say. And
sure.
How did the Horrornauts become a puppet show? I wish Kevin were here to answer that for you. You know what happened? His mom and sister, he just decided he wanted to make like promos, I think, and his mom and sister were handy with like the sewing machine. And they made us a little Dracula and a little wolf, which if you're looking, the flannel I happen to be wearing is exactly what the wolf looks like, a blue flannel. And mine's even ripped just like his. That was not on purpose. It became ripped.
It's like stigmata.
Yes. It's art imitating life, imitating art. And And so that was that. And, I do the voice for the Wolfman and Kevin does the voice for Dracula. And what we wanted to really do was find a way to reach like a younger, like have something friendly for like kids to watch. That wasn't all about like, it's not all about Hail Satan and killing and everything all the time,
Sure.
If it is, it's a gingerly way, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean. So yeah. It's sort of a way to just like destigmatize whatever that music is. Witches and werewolves and Dracula and Satan, and so the Horrornauts have little teasers, man. We just did like little promotional stuff. We're gonna do a lot more. It's so time consuming. We have one episode out that's like a full length, which is like I don't know if it's 8 minutes, explaining the story of like the first the New England Vampire Panic, which it's kind of a popular thing. People know about it now, but yeah, we wanted to explain like little pieces of horror history, and one of the other ones that we
that's cool.
Yeah, we have one coming up. We took a pause on it, but it's the Flying Dutchman, which is not quite as spooky as it comes off. But again, I go back to our team is sort of small, so with the Drew and the Blue stuff, Kevin records it and really engineers it all, and then with the Horrornauts stuff, it's the same guy.
Yeah.
So between Drew and the Blue getting the album done, which just happened in April, and the Horrornauts third EP coming out, which comes out October, I don't remember, 17th, I think.
Nice.
There's only so much. There's only two of us, and so
yeah,
yeah, we had to pick.
That's a lot for two people.
We had to pick and choose our battles. So the puppets took a backseat for a minute, but yeah, man, it's a whole nother thing. I get my kicks off on there, and yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't, you definitely, like I said, go download. So your second album, Drew and the Blue's second album, is self-titled.
Yep.
And while you're at it, probably should pick up the first one as well, which is one of the greatest album names ever, which is Surfing on a Surfboard.
It was great. It was a joke. And then the more I said it, I was like, well, I think it's just not a joke anymore. I'm serious.
So yeah, for those of you who are like, there are tracks on the new album that are like, pretty like snakeskin boots, like pretty high tempo, like, pretty hard rock type of
burners,
tune. Yeah. And then you guys have ones that are more like, kind of, I don't want to mis-genre you, but kind of these, spooky surf rock, what I mean, kind of thing, like punk, spooky surf rock, which is like, that's if I could live in like a weird, murderous 50s themed tiki hut, like that's kind of the aesthetic I'm going for, so it matches right in there.
It's rock and roll with Scooby-Doo imagery.
I like that.
Yeah, that's the genre too.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we never got into your origins of horror, but I think what that means is that you just got to come on the fucking show again, basically.
I'd love to, man. You guys are cool. I had no preconceived idea what we'd talk about. I listened to your thing and I could be a little prepared. Like, what's the momentum here? I was, but this was a lot of fun. I just thank you guys for having me on the show. Truly.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
It was awesome meeting you.
It was a blast. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, like I said, we definitely got to have you on here again. So once again, go check out Drew and all his projects, Drew and the Blue, Horrornauts, all that stuff. And and if you haven't already, again, and I cannot stress this enough, you guys, download Tubi. Download Tubi. Fucking, it's free. It's going to change your life. If you do decide to pray to Tubi or do some sort of ritualistic sacrifice on behalf of Tubi, that is going to get you to a better place in terms of Tubi roulette. And I do firmly believe that it does determine what shows up on your home screen on Tubi. And nobody can convince me otherwise. Besides that, guys, check us out next week where we'll do some damn Tubi roulette. It's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, anything else I'm forgetting, guys?
No.
Nope.
All right. Well, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.